Back. Welcome back to Two Dudes and a Mexican. I'm your host, some dude named Victor Salazar. To the left of me, some dude named Peter Soprano.
What's up?
To the right of me, resident Mexican David Quinones.
Órale, mi gente.
Hi guys, I missed you. Great show Sunday.
I know you actually heard that.
I am here.
Where were you on Sunday?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
What was so important that you couldn't be on our show? Our show. When I say our show, us three. Our show.
No, Saturday was a little rough, man. A little rough. You know?
I saw you said
worth
that.
it.
I saw you said that.
I
Just
didn't
blame that
see
shit
you.
on.
I didn't see you.
Really?
I don't remember seeing you.
He doesn't even remember seeing you.
Fake news. As my boy Donald Trump would say.
Too much drinking at your house,
Fake
yo.
news. Fake news. I wasn't there. Oh yeah, so welcome back to another edition. Like I said before we start, subscribe to the fucking YouTube already. I'm tired. I see a couple new subscribers. I need more.
Yeah.
You guys suck if you don't subscribe.
Just do it, man.
Get to
Real
1,000
quick.
for real.
YouTube.com.
Push the button. Come on, man.
Slash.
Support.
Slash.
I mean, how
Yeah,
fucking hard is it?
Slash. How
How
hard
fucking
is
hard
it?
is
Hey, it's on all of our profiles. Click it.
YouTube.com slash Two Dudes and a Mexican.
Yeah.
A lot of things going on. Baker Mayfield's going on. Holdouts going on in Dallas.
Yeah.
Guys getting paid in Dallas.
A lot of things happening.
Antonio Brown has ugly feet and helmet issues.
And it's just
I mean,
crazy.
it's just crazy. But
Odell Beckham.
Odell Beckham Jr.
But that was quite quiet compared to whatever other stuff happened this week.
So jumping right into it, the biggest thing that happened, Dave's boy Baker Mayfield
He's not my boy.
talks to GQ and says his mind was blown when the Giants took, the GOAT Daniel Jones, the GOAT at number 6.
Do we gotta replay the tapes to see what you said about him that day?
Again,
Come on, man.
Again, as my boy Donnie T would say, fake news.
You call it ego,
Fake
probably.
news. Fake news. No one knew. No one knows what you're talking about. No one knows what you're talking about. Anyways,
They watch our show.
we didn't have a show. You were at my house watching the draft. Where am I? No, see,
Hey, we
whatever
talked-
it said.
we
Fake
talked
news.
about it.
Fake news. We didn't talk about it. Daniel Jones basically said, I don't know how he said it or what context it was used in, but basically said it blew his mind that he was picked 6. And sometimes people overthink things when they're selecting a quarterback.
No, we're not going Chiefs.
You either win or you don't, or something of that nature. I don't want to misquote what he said, but your thoughts on the quote? Was it taken out of context? And does that change your opinion on Baker Mayfield?
No, I mean, listen, I think it was taken out of context. I mean, listen.
How so? I'm curious.
But remember when he said it. When did he say it? He said it when? Before the draft, right?
No.
Listen, a lot of people were surprised with the Giants taking Daniel Jones number 6.
I wasn't.
Not just because obviously he was taking number 6, but they probably could have gotten him later on.
Trash.
Exactly. So, but listen, I think it's taken out of context. Listen, that's what the media likes to do, right? If it wasn't a story, then we wouldn't be talking about it right now.
Yeah.
ESPN wouldn't be talking it right now. Social media wouldn't be talking about it right now. Listen, Baker Mayfield.
But it's on fucking GQ. Since when did they become fucking Sports Illustrated?
Listen, Baker Mayfield
Can I
has that energy.
Yeah.
And he's got that.
Real quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he said it on Playboy. He still said it.
We're not paying attention to GQ for sports
Of course
information.
you are. Of course you are. Baker Mayfield.
Well, apparently
one-
everybody's paying
one-
attention to what Baker Mayfield's saying right
One,
now.
the guy's a credible journalist,
Mhm.
and 2, it's still a credible outlet, whether it be GQ or not. He said it. On top of that, Playboy wrote an article about Jay-Z. Just because they're Playboy, I'm not gonna read it. What the dude said in Playboy was amazing, and what he thought about Jay-Z. So
I
there
look
it
at it
goes.
for pictures.
You only look at it for pictures.
And the profiles, right?
He's like
skinny dipping.
he's like Rube Baker. And Talisa likes to read books, go on long bike rides, and do the dishes after cooking. I don't remember.
Long walks on the beach.
Long walks to the beach. So, change your opinion on Baker Mayfield? Yeah or no?
No. Listen, the guy's a fiery guy. That's part of his
He's fucking
character. That's
trash.
part of his, repertoire. As a quarterback. So that's how he's going to be, and that's how I think the Browns want him. So fire like that, just like on the field. So doesn't.
I mean, I know we discussed it. You said it was not an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I disagree with you because I think if it would have been something you said about your new quarterback, you might have taken some offense to it.
I think the Giants fans should be thanking him right now because they've united all the Giants fans. Like, All the Giants fans before the season were bashing Daniel Jones. They were bashing him.
Nobody
at the
was.
draft pick.
Nobody's that
They were saying there's no way we should have taken him number
He's from
6
Duke
overall.
University.
We
Come
wanted
on.
Josh Allen. We should have gotten a defensive lineman. We should have maybe picked Daniel Jones later on with that
Isn't he a
second
quarterback,
first
Josh
round pick.
Allen?
There's
from the
I'm
Bills.
talking about the pass rusher from Kentucky. But now, all of a sudden, all the Giants fans are behind Daniel Jones.
He's
all
got
the Giants
points. Come
fans are
on,
saying
he's
this is
got
their
points.
guy
He's
now.
got points.
We've been behind
He has
since day one.
he has reunited the Giants fans. You should be thanking him. He may have made you a better team for this year.
Listen.
You may win 7 games
I
now.
don't
And,
care.
and now the whole, and now New York hates Baker Mayfield.
Exactly. You got somebody to hate.
I don't care how much I'm still gonna punch Hector in the face when I see him. I'm just kidding. Love you, Heck. Can't wait to tailgate and go to games with you
I will punch you, Hack.
At some point.
at some point. My opinion on it, whatever. Baker's a fiery guy. I get it.
He's trash.
If it was taken out of context, I think I watched a couple of sports shows today. Like Baker's basically saying that he didn't say it like that. He didn't. I don't know if he apologized to Daniel Jones, but
He said it about himself, too.
He said, I hope, I was shot when I was taking number 1.
Yeah.
I hope Daniel Jones has a good career. If it gets into back and forth, like they said, just roll the tapes. If the guy's challenging the journalist's credibility,
Yeah.
then roll the tapes. I mean,
And he,
it's
did say,
clear and simple.
and he did reach out to Daniel Jones, so I don't know what
He
came
did,
of that
yeah,
conversation.
he personally did. That's
Yeah,
what
but you know he was on that pump.
Baker?
That was the right
Baker?
thing to do, though.
Nah, bro.
That's the right thing to do.
That's a reenactment of what
That's
Daniel Jones said.
He knew Daniel Jones was gonna whoop his ass. That's why.
New phone, who this?
New phone, you gotta say that to everybody.
Baker, new phone, who this, bro?
You gotta say that to
That's
everybody.
exactly what he did.
Rookie.
Exactly what he did. It seems like, I mean, we could touch on Odell real quick. Odell's quote,
Trash.
briefly. Odell Beckham.
Damn.
Odell Beckham Jr., who seemingly loves to talk about the Giants.
I know, right
More
now.
than
He's hurt.
more than anything.
He's hurt from it.
He's hurt from it, saying that
He's hurt.
the Giants sent him somewhere to die. What?
We
That
said-
part's funny.
That's stupid.
That's
Okay,
funny.
so
So it's not
number one-
exciting because
number
he's
one.
back with his brother?
Number one, exactly. Number one, we sent him to play with his best friend.
Well, that was racist.
Oh my God! Whoa!
I meant like
It's a family show, man.
No,
Fucking relax.
No.
Are you kidding? We got hit.
He's a great man.
He's according to some people, he's the Mexican. We sent him to play with a high power offense, a pretty good defense.
Yep.
Everyone's betting money to make where do you want us to send him? To LA?
And he was all about it too. He was like, the dogs are hungry, or all this dog stuff, and he was grasping and taking all that, the colors and of the Browns and all that stuff, and now he's talking. It almost seems like he wants to talk about the Giants more than he wants to talk about the Browns.
That's what I'm saying.
Listen, when
Get over it, dude.
When you get emotionally hurt, you say things that are stupid sometimes.
I guess
I mean,
so.
we know that from social media.
But
so.
did he want it out?
No, I don't think he wanted out.
I
No.
think-
No,
I think he's hurt because he's sent him out.
As per that
According
the
to
interview with Lil Wayne and all that stuff, he was kind of giving clues that he wanted out. So
According to Stephen A. Smith.
And Lil Wayne was like this. Yeah, man. I feel that, dog. He's probably high as a kite in that interview. But yeah, to me, whatever. Like Pat Shermer said, we got bigger things to worry about than what Baker
Exactly.
and what Odell said.
Playoff time.
If he wanted to go to LA, then hold out, ask them to trade you to LA. I don't know what to
I
tell
don't
you.
think he wanted to go anywhere. I think he still want to stay there.
Oh well, we saw what happened when
And it's hurt because it's like a breakup. It's like he got dumped and he
He's
feels
with his
bad
best
over it.
friend. Him and Jarvis are gonna
Doesn't matter. He's still
do the moonwalk.
He's with
He's
his
not
best-
in New York anymore,
He's
right?
with his best friend, but he got dumped by his girl. So he's
he
upset about
He
it.
can fly to LA. It's only a 4-hour flight.
He don't wanna
He's
go to
fine.
LA.
Go to Miami. Go to Miami. It's 3 hours.
wanna go
It's
there
3
either.
hours.
He's
It's
just
a
upset
fine-
he's not in New York anymore. He's not.
He's hurt.
He's not.
He
He's
likes
not
New
where the
York.
bright lights are.
And
And
he's
stuff.
heard about not
Listen,
being in
at the
New
end of
York.
the day, the Giants saw what happened when Antonio Brown. They got a 3rd and 5th. They got spooked. They probably knew this was happening, and they got the best deal they possibly could have at that point.
I agree.
And leading into, from one outspoken receiver to another, seemingly on the brink of being mentally unstable, with yellow feet and helmet issues.
Good luck, Raiders.
What the hell is up with wide receivers nowadays, man? Wide receivers is like all crazy.
The most
So that's what I'm saying.
drama-filled.
If you're a number one wide
divas.
receiver, most of the time you're crazy.
It's
now.
crazy, yeah.
Like that's what the linebackers used to be classified as. All linebackers were classified as crazy like 20 years ago, and now it's the same thing with the wide receivers.
But you think he's worth the headache that he's causing right now? I mean,
No.
is it even a headache? Is John Gruden?
Oh, he's definitely a headache.
I mean, I haven't seen Hard Knocks yet. I'll probably watch it
Me
tonight.
neither.
John Gruden and Mike Mayock. Do you think that they have a headache right now and they're regretting trading a third and a fifth for Antonio Brown? Even though Mike Mayock may have said something about it, but John Gruden's there coddling his baby, basically rubbing him on the head, rubbing him on the chest. I'm here for you, Antonio. I'm here for you.
I would say yes. Normally they should regret it, but I think they're both a little crazy where they don't and they don't mind it. First of all, John Gruden is one of those people where if he loves you, it doesn't matter what you do, he's gonna love you. Like you could be trash for a whole season, he's gonna still point out the good in you. So that seems to be his new guy. He wanted Antonio Brown. He got Antonio Brown. He's gonna fit him to the end. So I don't think nobody, Gruden or Ian Mayock, regret that. But should they? They probably should because he has the type of attitude that breaks teams apart. And he showed that with Pittsburgh, and he may be showing that with Oakland pretty soon.
Where does that leave? What happened to John Gruden that told Keyshawn Johnson to go fuck himself?
He didn't draft Keyshawn.
He's a different person, man. Especially after
You think a couple
those
years
of being analysis.
That's what I'm saying. You think it's time to make him soft?
So I think so. I mean, listen, it's a different town. It's a different group of players, obviously. I really don't think it's worth it in the end because, like Pete said, I think it's listen, when a team ships you away like that, it's not good. There's a lot of red flags. So are you able to turn those red flags into green flags? I don't know.
You can turn those red flags into yellow feet.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I mean, my personal opinion on it is I love AB. I mean, I hope he can work it out, whatever it is that he's working out, or
He's
maybe
a great wide receiver.
or maybe
he's tremendous.
Maybe this is just for the show. Maybe
Top five.
Hard Knocks is like trash, and it's not really entertaining this year. Maybe they need.
I don't know if somebody purposely gives their feet frostbite.
Cause there's some weird.
What about that helmet?
The frostbite, you got the helmet. Like it's weird stuff happening. Like
Well, he's
It's
a
just
weird
for the
guy,
show.
man. He's a weird guy.
It's all
It could be
show.
for the show, but we'll
It
see.
was all
It
show.
could be. I mean, at the end of the day,
I'm gonna retire and give up all this money. Like it's so weird.
He didn't say that. Remember, that's what he said. I've never said I know where that came from.
but
Here again,
in your opinion, before we move on, real quick, do you need a top five wide receiver to win a Super Bowl?
No.
Even worth the headaches. If we go to top five, Odell, Julio, Deshaun, not Deshaun, Odell, Julio, DeAndre, AB, and if you want to give me another one
You
off the top
could
here.
do Devontae Adams. You could do.
No.
You could do Mike Evans. You could do.
You
Tyreek Hill.
don't because other teams have proved it already. So I hate to say it, but I mean.
So I'm not saying Julio Jones is the problem. I'm not saying DeAndre Hopkins is the problem, or anyone else.
But you
you
have to
mentioned.
pay them big money, and that's the problem.
Yes.
You're paying them almost $20 million, between $17 and $20 million,
The
and
Giants did the right thing.
that's what a quarterback should
So
do.
we got rid of the problem.
Got rid of the problem. We just
now we can go.
But you
forward.
can handle that if you have a rookie quarterback like Daniel Jones that you're calling the god, though. You can handle $20 million.
It's all right.
wide
Go
receiver.
on.
It's all right.
Four championships he's going to send us.
Sterling Shepard, just step up, baby. Step up.
He's gonna want to get paid too.
Whatever.
Ship him
We'll
out.
ship him out too, and we'll get some guy from Cornell to go play wide receiver.
Bucknell, wide receiver.
Bucknell. We were talking about big money. Big money is happening. My guy Jalen Smith. Actually, not my guy.
Go Irish.
But he's probably the second best inside linebacker in the game. Your thoughts on him getting paid, and on the heels of Zeke not getting paid, Dak not accepting whatever they gave him, Amari not accepting whatever they gave him.
Well,
You think Jerry Jones sending the message to these guys like,
You can be replaced.
how about you sign? How about you sign a fucking contract?
it's very weird that he did all these people who's actually asking for big money contract. He gives it to the guy who isn't out there publicly asking for a contract, and it makes sense that listen. I always say, don't negotiate in the media. Get that shit done behind grounds. If Zeke probably came into camp, Odell did it last year. Media talked about it, but Odell didn't break the contract last year. He went into camp, did what they did, and they got the contract hammered. If Zeke went into camp this year, he probably would have got a contract hammered out by now. But now you got his agent in the media criticizing Jerry Jones, saying he's being disrespectful. You got Dak Prescott asking for $40 million, and all these people. They're not
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, he did ask for $40 million. He's not going to get
Came in
$40
for
million.
40 yards, please. That's for 40
Now
yards.
they offered him $30 million. He should have taken it, but
He definitely should.
he should have taken it because that makes him number 6 highest paid quarterback in the league. But He thinks he should be higher, but we'll see.
And if he gets
We'll
40,
we'll see what he gets. I don't think he gets 40.
I know, but if he did, he's the highest paid.
Oh, by far, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
by far be the
ridiculous.
highest. Right now, the highest is like 26, 27. I mean, 36, 37.
What does that mean for the big three on the offensive side? Dak, Amari.
Amari should take it too.
And Dak, Amari, and Zeke. Is there enough money to go around to sign those three guys?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, they're going to have to make some room or make some sacrifices on defense. And I think, by him solidifying the linebacker, you got Van Der Esch. I mean, that's going to be a good defense, a tough defense in the NFC. So I can't see how you're doing it unless you sacrifice something on defense. So it's going to be tough.
Your thoughts on how they'll afford one of the three, two of the three, or even some miracle get all three on long-term deals?
I think that at this point, there's a good chance that they may try to trade Elliott.
Wow.
I think they will.
I didn't even see that. Wow.
I think they're going to try to sign Dak to maybe 32, something in the middle.
Oh my God.
And they'll try to sign Cooper to probably top 5 salary for a wide receiver. So I'm thinking probably around 17.
So you think that draft pick is going to be good enough to? I mean, he looks good. He looked good. I mean, he looked good.
Yeah, but remember, they traded a lot to get. They traded the first round pick to get Cooper, so they want him. So they're going to try to sign him. He'll probably get around 17 million. But Dak is somebody that, listen, it's hard to get a quarterback.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And even though he's not a top 10 quarterback, they like him. So if they like him,
they like how he runs the offense.
And they already offered him 30 million. But we already think 30 million is a lot. They probably won't mind going up a couple million and sign off around 32 million or 33 million. The odd man out, I think, will be Elliott. He has 2 more years left on his contract. I don't think he's going to hold out because he hasn't made any money yet. He hasn't been like Bell where he played 1 or 2 franchise years. So Elliott hasn't made any money yet, and I think he's at the point where he may be getting to be too much of a headache. And they're using their running backs a lot in preseason right now to see what they have. I think they may trade him.
And I was going to say the off-the-field problems. I mean, I know the Cowboys kind of don't care. I mean, they'll take anybody pretty much. But, Elliott's had a lot of off-the-field problems. So
I mentioned something about Jerry Jones that's probably going to piss him off.
Oh, definitely so.
Moving into that whole Zeke Elliott situation, do you think his holdout goes into the season?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think Jerry Jones sent the message here by doing this, by saying, listen, the guy that's not asking for the money, I'm going to pay him. I'm going to pay this guy. I think he even referenced him as like a fox. If you're going to be in the foxhole or something like that, you want somebody battle tested. So I think you can't play this game with Jerry Jones. He's gonna end up on top. So he's the guy with the money. It's Jerry's world. It's his team. It's his state. You're not gonna win this war.
Would you pay him? Yes or no?
Zeke Elliott?
Yeah.
Whew. I'm with Pete. I'm with Pete, man.
You're gonna spend 15 million.
I'm with Pete. I think you gotta take care of Dak Prescott first. Even though, again, I don't think he's worth more than 30 million. But listen, that's your quarterback. That's your brains pretty much behind the operation. He's the guy. You know what I'm saying? That everybody's trying to find. I'm not saying specifically him, but that consistent quarterback that you can rely on to run your offense every year. Look how many teams are searching for theirs. So you have to take care of Dak first.
I asked Dave for a yes or no question. He gives me. Before we get Malusis on the phone,
yeah.
Melvin Gordon, you think that? 2 questions. Mm-hmm. Was Jerry Jones right to be pissed at Zeke in terms of them saying that they were upset, and Jerry Jones is like, well, I've been behind Zeke, his whole career through his ups and downs. Mm-hmm. So if that's going to stay in our relationship, in a sense, he's basically saying like, that's what I was going to take Zeke. So F you.
Yeah.
He said he earned the right.
He earned the right. True. And 2, Melvin Gordon, does he hold into his holdout go into the regular season, or is he traded, or what are your thoughts? And make it quick.
Well, I think with Zeke Elliott, I think Jones. Listen, if Zeke Elliott wasn't good, he wouldn't have carried him. Probably would have cut him. So he's good enough that he can do that. So Jerry Jones, I don't know if he's earned the right to say that, but I can understand him being angry because, listen, that's what type of guy he is. We know what type of guy he is. So that may not last that long. With Melvin Gordon, listen, I don't think that it's going to last into the season, but I think there's a better chance it will than Elliott. I think Elliott will be back and traded, but I don't think Melvin Gordon will last into the season, but there's definitely a good chance. he has made a little bit of money, and it's time for him to get to that point where he said, you know what, I want to get paid.
And San Diego has options, man. So the other two, I mean, they're pretty good. So not Melvin Gordon good, but
yeah, but they got to split time though. They aren't really the true workhorse backs, and they're the type of guys that they need to be. Listen, like, give me 20 carries. They need that guy with a Phillip Rivers.
And score that many touchdowns too. That's a lot of touchdowns to make up for. So
listen, they still got Phillip Rivers there, and they got a pretty good offense. Because they got Hunter Henry, they got Mike Williams, they got Keenan Allen. Listen, Rivers. I'm not a big fan of Rivers. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Rivers, but he puts up good numbers. He's usually pretty solid. And listen, they've had the offense surrounding him for a long time, and he's been able to do pretty good.
Still
So
hasn't done shit.
He doesn't curse.
He doesn't curse. He's starting to get further. Like I said, I think they have a chance to actually win the Super Bowl this year, but they need Melvin Gordon to do it.
This guy, seriously, man.
I said they need Melvin Gordon to do it though. They're not going to win it without Melvin. They're not going to win it with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson as their.
Melvin Gordon's come to the Giants.
This is Melvin Gordon. You had to play backup to Saquon.
The first one.
Listen, there's no way that I think that Elliott is going to be on the Cowboys team this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think something's going to happen where Elliott isn't going to be on the
Don't you
team.
got to be connected to that?
I guess somebody forgot to put their phone on Do Not Disturb.
Good job, Pete.
What do you mean?
It should have a text. It should have a text.
No, it shows the text, but it's not going off.
Here's another one.
Not going off, yeah.
And another one.
Yeah.
All right, sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yep, we got it. Hey, we're live with Marc Malusis. How you doing, Mark?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us on Two Dudes and a Mexican. It's a pleasure and an honor to get someone that I've listened to on the radio for a while. So thanks for coming on.
You got it, guys. How's everything going, all right?
All right, Mark, what's up, man? Listen, you know I've talked to you a lot about football every time I see you. And you know we got to start off talking about those Washington Redskins of yours. So, Dwayne Haskins, you took him high. You took him as a first-round pick. Even after you went and got Case Keenum, first of all, what do you think of him as a player? And do you think that he's going to be the starter when the season starts?
I don't think he's going to be the starter week one. I do think it's probably going to be Case Keenum. I don't think Colt McCoy's probably going to be healthy enough. I like the pick of Haskins. I think he certainly showed you with the 50 touchdown passes a year ago at Ohio State that he could certainly throw the football. Some people criticize his footwork. I think he's an extremely driven guy. I think he's probably a little bit motivated that he didn't go to the Giants, a team that he rooted for growing up, and he did drop to Washington. But the concern I have with the Redskins is the coaching staff. I don't think Rubin is a great head coach. I don't think Bruce Allen runs a quality organization. And I do think Daniel Snyder, as owner, it is a little bit of a septic situation down there in Washington, D.C. So, even though I do like Haskins as a player, the concern that I would have is his development here moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the biggest things in terms of development for a quarterback is having a good offensive line. And the big talk, one of your candidates, Trent Williams, do you think he's going to be in camp eventually? Do you think he's going to be traded? What's going to be the deal with him?
Yeah, I don't think so. Unless they get rid of the medical staff. This isn't about money. It's not about a contract extension. Clearly, you guys know this better than anybody. One of the best left tackles in all the National Football League, and you could probably make the argument that pound for pound, he's probably the best Washington Redskin player. Now, you look at it, it's dating back to a misdiagnosis of a growth on his scalp during the course of the offseason. He didn't feel like the medical staff handled it properly, and the more you hear from former players that play in the National Football League, that's a little bit of a difficult thing, if not an impossible thing, to kind of overcome. And, he wants guys and gals that handled him out and not handling him moving forward. And the Redskins seem stuck in their way that they want to retain the people and their medical staff. And Williams wants changes. I'm surprised he's not traded at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think he's all of a sudden going to report. It seems like it's a toxic situation between him and management.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see that, unfortunately enough for Washington, I just don't see that ending all that well or ending in a timely fashion. I think eventually he probably gets moved, but I don't see him buckling and all of a sudden reporting.
Now, one person that you did lose this offseason, Preston Smith. His linebacker's been there for the past 4 years. Between sacks and tackles for loss, he's got over 50 of them total during his 4 years. That's a big spot to replace, even though he had a down year last year. Do you think Montez Sweat can fill that spot? And what do you think about Montez Sweat knowing that he has that heart issue?
Yeah, I mean, well, medically, I mean, I think when you look at him, if he wasn't cleared by the doctors, you're not going to draft him. So I think the knock on Sweat is he's a little thin, he's a little undersized. Some people look at him as maybe not having enough bend in order to be a really dominant edge rusher in the National Football League. I like the pick. I like the aggressiveness. Certainly, he's a tremendous athlete. I mean, we saw that collegiately. But the concern I would have about Montez Sweat is him being able to maintain weight and being able to play at his weight and being a productive player, holding up against the run and going after the quarterback as well. You know, he's not Javon Curse athletically, who's able to play very, very light. But, I mean, there's only one freak, right? So that's not Montez Sweat. But I do like the pick and address the need for the Washington Redskins. You know, on a defense that at times leaves a lot to be desired. There's a lot of Alabama players on that defense. There's no doubt about it, and they've drafted a lot of Saban players over the years. But I don't know if I necessarily look at this Washington defense as being a great one this year. I think it's probably going to be a down year for the Skins, but I'm hoping that Montez Sweat has a good rookie year.
One more question on the Skins. I want to talk about their skilled players at wideout and running back. Now, they seem to have 4 running backs right now. I think they drafted one. You got Adrian Peterson. You got Darius Geis, who I really like a lot. And you still got Chris Thompson. Who do you think is going to stand out there? Do you think Geis is going to end up eventually leading? Do you think Peterson is going to continue to lead?
You know, I think with Geis, it depends on health. I thought he was going to be the starter a year ago before he suffered the season-ending knee injury and tore his ACL during the course of the preseason, which is a brutal hit. He was a great player, good running back in LSU. You know, if you tell me he holds up, I think he's probably the most talented running back in camp. However, I don't know if I necessarily believe that he's going to hold up. And it's amazing how long Adrian Peterson has been able to hold on here in the National Football League and keep on ticking it. I know another 1,000-yard rushing season a year ago. I know, you know, it's not as impressive as it was, say, 20 or 30 years ago, but still, for a guy his age, the wear and tear that he has had on his body, I think it's Geis's job if he's healthy. However, I'm really not all that convinced that he'll be able to stay healthy, and I think Adrian Peterson's going to continue to get some perm.
And at the wideouts, you got Paul Richardson, Dotson, and also now you got a rookie in McLaurin. Do you think either one of those are going to step out or not?
You know, I think the Redskin receiving corps at one point in time, you had Deshaun Jackson, you had Pierre Garçon, you had Jamison Crowder. You know, I thought it was a really talented group. I think right now, I think you look at the group, it's a lot of unproven commodities. Josh Doctson was a great player at TCU. Has never been able to put it together here in the National Football League. No, whether it be injuries, whether it be dropped passes, whether it be ineffective routes, he's not been able to do it here in the National Football League. Unfortunately for Washington, I just don't look at it as being all that great of a group. I think Dotson has the potential to be a really good wide receiver. However, I think up until this point, for where the Redskins drafted him in the first round, I think for the most part, it's probably been a disappointment.
You're here with Two Dudes and a Mexican. We're here with the man, the legend, Marc Malusis from SNY.
Oh, you guys are too kind.
WFAN. Taz and the Moose. Really appreciate you, Marc, being on our show today. You're talking to the Mexican right now of the show. So, listen, I'm a big diehard Giants fan. Have been a diehard Giants fan since I was a kid, since I can remember. Obviously, it's a different year. We traded off our prize gem, if you want to call it, Odell Beckham Jr. to the Cleveland Browns. And now we're left with still our star, Saquon Barkley. How do you think this affects Saquon and Saquon's ability to run the ball, especially now people talking that they're going to stack the box now on the Giants? Maybe they don't feel as threatened with the wide receiving core that we have this year.
You know, the one thing is for the Giants here, Max, I do think the offensive line is significantly improved. So last year, it's really been a disaster for probably the last 2 or 3 years, and they've done a poor job of protecting Eli Manning. Yeah, they don't have the game breaker in Odell Beckham Jr. However, you look at Shepard, you look at Ingram, and Ingram has improved his inline blocking. You talked about that last week out at Giants camp. I think for Saquon Barkley, I don't think it takes much. I mean, I do think he's a game breaker. We know what he can do as a receiver. We know what he can do as a runner. I would like to see him limit some of those negative runs and maybe at times take what the defense is going to give him instead of trying to break every run, and try to take it to the house. But it was a really special running back. I thought the Giants were going to take him second overall 2 drafts ago. I was not surprised when they did, and I was not forlorn that they passed on the quarterbacks, because I do think that he was the cleanest prospect in the draft, and I think he was probably a guy that had Hall of Fame or written all over him. He's that kind of a kid on the field and off the field. He's a great representation for the Giants, and I think he's going to represent them really well for the next 8-9 years.
So do you think there's any concern with the use that the Giants are going to have this season with him? Obviously, like you said, he's probably going to be a superstar in the league. But is there a concern with the amount of punishment that he takes and maybe the workload that he's given?
Well, I think you got to be smart with it. I mean, do I think he's going to be like Eddie George, where he's getting abused in terms of touches and straight handoffs? No, but you could also, Pat Shermer could be also creative in getting the football in his hands, where you can have extended runs and dump outs coming out of the backfield. You can do those sort of things. This is not going to be like I-set football, let's run it into the middle of the line of scrimmage. And you can have great impact if you're getting, 22 to 28 touches over the course of the game, it being, 19, 20 carries and then 8 receptions, something that Saquon Barkley can easily go out there and do. And he can average, 155, 160 yards of total offense and give you a couple touchdowns. I mean, that's all within the realm for Saquon Barkley. I wouldn't be concerned, because I do think, when you look at this Giant team, and this, knowing them backward and forward, is that it's going to be all about the offense. Defense is going to stop many people this year. They can't really get after the quarterback. I have a little bit of concern in terms of where that defensive line, which was a great strength at one point in time, and where it is right now. Now, I think the offense is going to have to score some points in order to win some games this year and put up a representable effort. That means that Saquon Barkley is going to get a lot of burn.
So staying on the offense, obviously we drafted Daniel Jones, number 6, this year. What do you think about the quarterback situation? Obviously with the owner saying, yeah, Eli's our starter. What do you think happens throughout the year, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think, well, tell me how the season goes.
Let's say we're mediocre. We're just
8-18.
Say again.
8-8, 7-9.
Let's say 6-10. More like 6-10.
All right, 6-10 team. So I think probably at that stage, if the Giants are a 6-10 team, I think you'll probably see Daniel Jones for 7-8 games this year. I think that's the way you're looking at it. Eli's in the final year of his contract. I think you're seeing rookie quarterbacks playing earlier and earlier. I think in essence of what will turn out to be a lost season, I think the Giants would be doing their organization a great disservice if they don't get Daniel Jones some burn over the course of the regular season. And he certainly looked the part in the preseason. Now, no, Eli can certainly play well and put up good offensive numbers, but at some point you have to think about the future and what's best for the organization, not what's best for Eli Manning. And I think this is in essence going to be probably the swan song year for Eli, because I don't look at this team being a particularly good football team. And I didn't love the pick of Daniel Jones 6th overall, and if he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. However, I certainly like his approach. I certainly like how he handled the Baker Mayfield criticism a couple days ago, and I like the way that he's looked so far in the preseason. Now, we'll find out what he looks like in the regular season, because we've seen quarterbacks, especially rookies, that look good in the preseason, and then all of a sudden you're playing at regular season speed against all the starters, and you can look drastically different. But so far, so good for Jones.
So, Mark, I value your opinion. So, in your prediction, what is the Giants' record at the end of the year?
I think you're probably right. I think they're probably a 6-10, 7-9 type of team. I think that's what they're looking at. I think the high water mark is 7-9. I think probably the low point would be 5-11. The issue I have is, like I mentioned earlier, I just don't know how they're going to stop anybody. And maybe I'm wrong, but I look at the other teams in that division, especially the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see what happens with Zeke down in Dallas with the Cowboys. I don't think the Washington Redskins are going to be particularly good. I don't think they're particularly well coached. But could the Giants surprise some people? They could. But I do think there's a ceiling to how good they could be this year.
Again, we're live with Marc Malusis here on Two Dudes and a Mexican. Mark, before we get you out of here, I want to talk about the the other team in town, the Jets, real quick. I'm not a fan, but I need to do my due diligence on them, especially with the big acquisition of Le'Veon Bell. Having him sit out a year, how do you foresee him playing in the regular season, not seeing him in the preseason? And, we basically haven't seen Le'Veon Bell for, close to a year and a half maybe? We don't know what he is. Do you think he takes a step back, or is he going to be the same Le'Veon Bell?
I think he's going to be the same Le'Veon Bell physically. The problem I have with Bell is I don't think he's behind an offensive line that's nearly as good as it was in Pittsburgh. So that's the concern I would have. I love the Khalil acquisition and throwing him in at center. That's a massive upgrade for the Jets over Harrison. But I don't have any concerns about Bell physically. It doesn't bother me that he's not playing in the preseason. I think it's a sign of the times, especially with older running backs that have gotten a lot of touches, they've taken a lot of hits. There's not a lot of tread left on the tires. I'm not telling you that Bell's an old running back, but the life expectancy for running backs in the National Football League is probably shorter than every other position in the NFL. So why give him unnecessary hits? I think the number is 30. I think he's taken 30 offensive snaps over the course of the preseason during his NFL career, and he's been A-OK. I've got no issues with that. I mean, and I think the Jet offense is going to be pretty good because I think the offensive line is improved, and I think Bell's going to be pretty good. I don't know if he's going to be as dominant as Pittsburgh because the offensive line, 1 through 5, is not nearly as good, but certainly he's got a young signal caller in Sam Darnold that can throw it.
And your thoughts on Sam Darnold actually taking a step forward in year 2? He's got Jamison Crowder, so he's got a weapon on the outside. He's got obviously Le'Veon Bell. What are your thoughts on him taking that step up on year 2? And what do we see? What are you looking for in improvements from Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I think the decision making, cutting down on the turnovers, having a great feel for the offense. Now a different offense under Adam Gates. Knowing where he's needed to go with the football. Listen, I love Darnold. I said on SNY after they drafted him, I think he's going to win the Super Bowl with the Jets. Somebody, when he was out at USC, told me he was the best, most talented quarterback that has ever stepped foot on a USC campus. So he lives, eats, and breathes football. He doesn't want to be a star. He wants to be a great football player. I think his attitude is infectious. I think he's got great leadership qualities. I think all signs point up for Sam Darnold. I really do. And I think the quarterback you saw in the Rose Bowl against Penn State is more indicative of Sam Darnold than the quarterback that you saw in his final year before he declared for the draft on the USC campus. So everything all the accolades that have been thrown Darnold's way, I think are well deserved. And I think he's just a really special young quarterback. I think that Jet fans should be really, really excited about what he's going to provide for this organization for the next 10 to 12 years.
And how do you see the injury to Avery Williamson affecting the defense? And do you foresee, we've already see it now in terms of like the preseason being basically a wash. Aside from the injuries, do you see the NFL just getting completely rid of the preseason?
No, I don't think getting rid of it totally. I do think, first and foremost, I think the Williamson injury hurts. I think he was a really good player a year ago. I feel bad now. He doesn't have a guarantee past this season. Now he's coming off a torn ACL. Then you throw in the Copeland suspension for 4 games, PEDs today. Now you look at that linebacking core for Greg Williams. I think it's very, very thin. And now you're going to be looking at the waiver wire to see who could plug in and play here in Williams' system. Linebacker is now an issue for the Jets. Now, overall, I think the National Football League, if they could get the players to agree to it, would love to go to 18 regular season games. And get rid of 2 preseason games. It's terrible football to watch. You're charging season ticket holders, premium prices to watch a bad product. And I think there's a problem with the way, as you mentioned it, I think there's a problem with the way that you're seeing teams approach the preseason here, which is a concern for the National Football League. But, to get players to give in and now play 18 meaningful games in the course of the regular season, or even 17 meaningful games in the regular season, they're going to want more of the pie in order to do that, because that's even shortening their careers potentially even more. And so that's a problem. But, yeah, I think the way preseason football was viewed at one point in time as being a necessary evil where you're playing starters, knocking the rust off, I think it's viewed completely differently now.
How do you foresee that playing into the regular season with guys not getting that contact Do you see more
Yeah, I think
injuries
you
in
see
the
in the
past?
first couple weeks of the year. I mean, it's kind of like football where you see the veterans kind of knocking the rust off playing regular season football. I mean, aside from Thursday night football being a bad product, I really think it takes probably a good 2 weeks for NFL regular season football to kind of really ramp up. And I think you're seeing the effects of the lack of work in the preseason, more work in the practice field, and not playing in preseason games. And I think it takes a while, a couple weeks for these veteran players to kind of get into a groove.
And Mark, love having you on. I mean, if we could talk to you forever, we would. But one more question. Well, actually, two more. First one, how's Scarlet Knight football going to look this year?
I'm sorry, how was that?
Scarlet Knight football, your squad from Rutgers. How are they going to look this year?
I think they'll be better at the quarterback position. I think for Chris Ash, I think it's been a little bit of a struggle to kind of get his players in. Certainly his offensive system in, being a defensive-minded coach. I think they really struggled with the most important position a year ago. So if they get improved play there, I think they'll give you a more representable effort over the course of the Big Ten season. It starts amazingly enough, it starts in 9 days, Labor Day weekend, where they open it up at home against UMass, which will be fun. A 7 o'clock start down there in Piscataway, New Jersey. But I think it'll be a significantly improved team over a year ago.
And we've heard you on WFAN, and most people don't know you were behind the boards on the Mike and the Mad Dog show. I mean, such an iconic show. If you could leave us with one funny story between those two guys who seem to be always serious, what would that be?
One funny story. I'm trying to, let me think. There's so many different ones.
Putting him on the spot right now.
I mean,
put me on the spot.
Love the show, man.
Well, I mean, listen, they they obviously used to like to play games and everything like that. And Russo would always be a guy that would love to get everybody behind the scenes involved in playing college football games. I remember one time when we were playing the Humanitarian Bowl. I forget who was playing in the game. And it was an afternoon game, holiday season, everything like that. And we played it. We had a crushing loss. And I think it was Carlin and myself were behind the glass at that time. And I was around the board. And Russo, after the game goes final, and we all lost on the game, would take out his notebook and come in and be like, Marc Malusis, you're 150 in the rear. I expect to check next week.
That's an awesome story, man. Well, Moose, man, thanks for coming on. We hope to have you on more during the season. We can talk about the Skins, the Giants, the Jets, and pretty much the NFL. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Moose.
Pleasure's all mine, guys. Have a great night.
This is like Ryan Seacrest right now. He's on every show. I see him on Sports Final. I see him on everything.
You gotta hustle, you know that, guys.
Hey, honor to have you, man. Honor to have you. Like I said, legend, the man.
Thanks, Moose.
Pleasure's all mine.
Thank you, Mark.
You're too kind. Thank you, guys.
Well, there you have it. WFAN's own, SMI's own, Taz and the Moose's own,
Rutgers Football's
own,
Sports Final.
the man of Sports Final, Bruce Beck's,
Hard, man.
co-pilot, Marc Malusis. A few things I took away from it was what he actually said about the Giants in terms of them kind of surprising people. Even though you said kind of 6-10,
there's a possibility.
Surprise people. What do you think it'll take for the Giants to surprise people?
It'll take the defense definitely, obviously, performing better, getting pressure on the quarterback. Obviously, you have talent, on the cornerback side, but if you can't get pressure on the quarterback, I mean, look at the teams they're going to be facing. They're going to be facing the Green Bay Packers this year.
Trash.
They're going to be. They're going to be facing. This guy, yeah.
Tom Brady.
You're going to be facing Tom Brady. Sam Darnold.
You got Brady and Rodgers against that defense.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're just going to pick the defense apart, obviously, if they can't get pressure. So, if our offense can't keep up, then, we're probably not going to have a shot at most of these
Daniel
games.
Jones going to keep up.
10-6. We're going to be 10-6.
Eli Manning's going to keep up, guys.
Daniel Jones going to keep up. little, from the Redskins' point of view, I can't say that word, but from the team from Washington's point of view, he says he doesn't believe that they're well coached.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? When a lot of people in this league actually think that Gruden's actually a quarterback-friendly coach, kind of an offensive guru. What are your thoughts on him saying that they aren't a well-coached team?
Well, I think he pretty much means that they should be doing better than they are on offensively. They don't seem to be very creative on the offensive end. We already said that you don't need to have a top 5 or a top 10 wide receiver to win a Super Bowl because we named all the top 5 wide receivers and none of them have a Super Bowl. So you can win with above average wide receivers, good running game, good defense, and they've had a good defense for a long time there in Washington. So the problem is they're just not winning enough games. He's supposed to be an offensive guru, and if you already have a good defense, then how come your offense isn't good enough to get you a good seed, get you the division, get you move on to the playoffs to maybe get to an NFC championship? He hasn't been there just one or 2 years. He's been there for a little bit, and he's had enough time to change that around. They haven't changed it around yet.
Before we end the show, we left you guys with a poll question. It's actually kind of like a fantasy football question, but more, it's an NFL question. We're gonna start doing more fantasy in the weeks to come. This was basically just an NFL show before we hit fantasy hardcore. The question was, who has a bigger breakout season in 2019? Shout out to you guys. We went from 60 votes to 217 votes. The choices were Calvin Ridley. Shout out to you guys. You shout out to the plug. Now go fucking subscribe to the channel.
Tell your friends. Tell your family, your mom, your dad, who cares? Everybody,
your boyfriend, your cousin,
your guma, whatever.
Your gumar. Come on, Dave. This is a family show. We believe in faithfulness here.
Wow. Just do it.
Just do it. Subscribe. Your thoughts, Dave? Who has the bigger breakout season, Calvin Ridley or Kenny Galladay?
That's a good question. I'm gonna go with Calvin Ridley. So I think more potential there. So I'm a little biased.
It was pretty close.
I'm a little biased when it comes to.
It's 54% for Calvin Ridley, 46% for Kenny Galladay. I'm pretty biased too. I've liked Calvin Ridley since college. I thought when they drafted him, I'm like, damn, they get another freaking Julio Jones on the same team. It's Julio Jones' cousin, basically. They went, both went to Alabama. They came up through the same Saban system. They didn't have probably adequate quarterbacks throwing them the football. Well, he didn't have Tua, did he?
No.
So he didn't have Tua. So they both didn't have adequate quarterbacks throwing them the football in college. And now they're Matt Ryan, who I still think is pretty overrated. He's still pretty overrated, but they're going to make him look a lot better. Kenny Galladay, you throw him up there. What are your thoughts, and why do you think he could possibly have a better season than Calvin Ridley?
Well, let me change one thing. He had Tua for one game in the national championship game because that's the only game he played in with Ridley. But I'm actually going to pick Galladay to be the bigger breakout. The reason why is because I think Julio Jones being so good will limit the amount of yards that Ridley will be able to get. I think he can still have 1,000 yards, but I don't see him having a 1,200 yard 10 touchdown season because he has other weapons there. They still have Devontae Freeman. They still have Julio Jones. So they have and Mohamed Sanu. They still have enough people that I don't think that he'll be able to command a lion's share to have that breakout season.
But Julio doesn't catch touchdowns, man. Come on, where you been? We've been past year.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
But then you look at Galladay, and he does catch touchdowns. He's a big, strong guy. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. He's already Matt Stafford's red zone target, and I would say he's the number one wide receiver on that team. So he's going to be the primary target receiver, and he's going to be the one to get a lot of touchdowns. So if I had to say between the two, I think Ridley probably gets a little bit more yards, but I think Galladay will get more touchdowns.
All right, we got 1 more minute. Quick boxing question. Prediction. Anthony Yarde, Sergey Kovalev from Russia Saturday. Who you got?
I got the Crusher because I want to see him and Canelo fight. So
by what?
Late knockout.
Crusher versus Anthony Yarde.
I'll go with upset Yarde.
You're fucking stupid. It's not gonna happen. Kovalev. It's in Russia. We already know. Putin is not gonna let that happen. That's our show. We'll probably see you Sunday. Hopefully, I have a better Saturday.
Hopefully, he makes it.
If I do, we'll talk about fantasy. We'll get more into the baseball.
Corner Sunday.
We'll get more into the baseball. Maybe Dre shows up.
Dre, you better show up, man.
We'll see.
Debut Pete's Corner. Dre show up.
If Dre don't show up, he's fired.
Basically. Peace.